prospect place. And I also recognize is Regina Cahill from the Northwest Platte bid. Still here. I just want to before we get started, this a holdover from a motion that we tabled from our last regular meeting, and I want to specifically thank Gina and Sharon of the Northwest Blackwood bid for hosting and facilitating a mediation. I understand that not everything was agreed upon among the parties, but we really do appreciate the effort that you guys put into trying to come to common ground. So I believe we have a set of stipulations. I'm not sure who amongst the committee, if anyone is. I emailed these around this afternoon. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at them. I did.
You had too much time on your hands.
I agree with open. Pardon me? The only thing that seems open. Yeah, there was a number of agreements were made, and perhaps one of you would like to come up with the appropriate time to address this. It seems like the remaining sticking points were the hours of operation, and then a question of whether there would be bottle service within the restaurant or within the club.
And also glass incorporated in the back wall.
That in the top is there's agreement on. I'll say the first part is to modify the Prospect Place exterior wall. That there's a single exit door on Prospect, no entrance door on Prospect Place whatsoever, consistent with representation. At our last meeting, I think a glib comment was made to brick up the Prospect Place exterior wall. Chemistry agrees to modify the Prospect Place exterior wall and material design that will result in a benign, non-commercial facade that entirely conceals Chemistry's operation from Prospect Place. But now there was a question of whether glass would be an option for construction, and you can address that particular part of the question.
You just want to reserve the right to have glass as an option. You use glass blocks. There are many different ways to use glass just to get the ambient light.
Is this something that would be opaque?
Yes.
So it's not not translucent.
Yes.
The glass block would be very effective.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, and then whatever it is I think there's stipulations to the effect that the whole place is going to be thoroughly soundproofed, and then checked a week prior to opening.
Is there a lot of ambient light at midnight? Just a question.
No.
Also, is there any community?
It's a good
talk
question.
about this?
Please hold it until you've been recognized. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, would you like to address the application or the changes to the application since the last time we met?
There were none really, with the exception of the hours that were proposed are scaled back.
And just to be clear with materials that I received from the bid, there are three different proposed hours. The applicant has proposed operating on Sunday from 12 to 12, Wednesday from 4 to 2, Thursday from 4 to 3 a.m., Friday from 4 till 3:30, and Saturday from noon until 3:30 a.m., of course. The Prospect Place Neighbors group has requested that Sunday the business be closed, that Monday through Wednesday the business be open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and that Thursday, I don't know why this is on a separate line, but Thursday also from 11 to 11, and then on Friday I've requested a 2 a.m. closing time, with further stipulation that they cease serving and amplify music 45 minutes prior to close of business. The bid proposed a third option with hours from Sunday to Thursday night, 11 to 12 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 to 2 a.m. In each case, with entirely. I don't understand the last call and that free of patrons by 12:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. I guess 12 p.m. and 2 a.m. are the last calls, and free of patrons half an hour later. Is that correct? Okay, there's just a space formatting issue I didn't change that. And then that is where we are. The other item of contention between the community members and the applicant. The applicant intends to have bottle service at or table service, bottle service at the tables inside, and the members of the community do not want that.
Just a point of information, can we ask the community negotiators why they care about bottle service? I'm not.
I know at least one of them was not able to make it tonight, but has a surrogate here. Yeah, there you go.
Well, and we have Christine
I'll let you
speak for bottle
stand
service.
together and make your answer that question.
So, bottle service is a great concern to the community, as it has been for several of the organizations here in New York City in the past few years. We have currently in the city 15 clubs with bottle service, one of which is located in Brooklyn on Atlantic Avenue. We're concerned about the hours of operation and the last call being 30 minutes before.
Right, question, a specific question about
Why
bottle
don't
service.
you want bottle service?
Because I can't take it outside.
We have the last call 30 minutes before. How do we consume?
It's relevant.
It's relevant.
Give her a second.
Yes. How do we consume a bottle of vodka in 30 minutes between last call and when you're supposed to be on the sidewalk?
Bottle service isn't giving you a beer in a bottle. Bottle service is...
It's a bottle.
Okay.
I understand what that is.
So we're concerned.
Hostess-driven bottle service. It's not only bottle service. We want to have hostesses being paid to serve bottles.
We're concerned with people having consumed large quantities of alcohol being put out in the street 30 minutes after last call. That's the bottom line.
I consider that can be easily solved by bottle service being just ended earlier than regular service. I mean, this is
Unenforceable.
Point of information is some parallels with the Prime 6 now Woodland, which is about a block away, and it's scratching a little bit to remembers what the hours we for that facility were.
4 a.m. 4 a.m.
For weekends or
All day.
Across the board, 4 a.m. That's
Can you speak up, please, so the rest of us can hear you? Because I couldn't hear you and I couldn't hear you.
I was just asking what hours we had approved on what was called Prime 6, which is about a block away.
And the answer was 4 o'clock.
I have a question and a comment. The question to the applicant. How, with the glass blocking of the Prospect Place, where does the club end? How close to the end of the street does the club end? I don't know if I'm being clear. In other words,
To the back, how close to the back of the building does the occupied space?
yes, thank you, Gary.
Maybe the big six.
That's my question. What Gary is?
with the exception, I believe there's a ramp there, but to the property line.
To the property line. Right. So, I think that, again, we're talking about a lot of relative stuff here. There's all these stipulations that are trying to make this not a nightclub.
Well, it's not a nightclub.
Okay, I'm not going to argue semantics with the applicant, but it seems the design of it, the music programming with the DJs, the hours that you guys want to do. I mean, if it's not a nightclub, are you going to close at 11 o'clock at night? No. Okay. It's a huge space. It has a design that is very nightclub-like. So I think we're arguing about do we want something that is like a nightclub in this space that goes the full length of the street. I would have no problem with this if it went halfway from Flatbush to the middle. I have a problem with this kind of facility going all the way, glass block or no glass block, to Prospect Place. I just it feels like a nightclub. It smells like a nightclub. They might not call it a nightclub, but it seems like a nightclub to me. So, I have a problem with the general concept of this. I think, and I'm going to, people in this neighborhood, and we're going to deal with this with Atlantic Yards. And we have to segment these issues out. I realize that. People in this neighborhood really got screwed. They either got kicked out of the neighborhood because of Atlantic Yards, or the people that stayed are now getting inundated with their quality of life. So nobody's winning who's staying in this
If you don't mind, I would like to recognize a few people from the community. Sure. Preferably people who you remember what everyone had to say the last time. So preferably people who didn't speak at our last meeting, but
I was going to ask, just like the other agenda points, if we could have by show of hands people who are here, with an interest in this matter.
Sure.
Just for the record.
That everyone here is interested in this in the Barclays Center.
Here, point of information. There was a negotiation or a parlance that went on between our last meeting and this meeting?
That's correct.
And did that parlance take into account community concerns? And is the presentation of what you gave to us today, what you sent out today, was that an agreement that was reached between the community and the bid and the applicant, or is that just something that's a third standard that we're looking at?
It is a number of agreements were made with a couple of sticking. Actually, yeah.
Let me just. We were asked as the North Flatbush Avenue Business Improvement District to mediate a meeting. There were representatives from the community. There were representatives from chemistry. There were representatives from every elected official that represents this portion of Flatbush Avenue. It was a 3-hour meeting. We discussed the stipulations. After the meeting, I sent out a summary of the meeting where we had agreement at the meeting. Mr. Edelman sent out additional stipulations, which this memo is based on, and then there were footnotes on that so that you can see what we agreed to that evening, and the areas where there were disagreements were the bottle service, the hours of operation, the back wall, and one other.
Catering license.
And the catering license to permit parties down in the basement and in the lower level to have dancing for when there's a catering event. Those were the 4 areas that there were agreement on.
Can I just interject?
And Pauline was present.
There was the understanding that the representative from the community who was representing our place and all the other places would take it back to his group for further discussion, and that they were supposed to have a meeting on the matter and then come up with what they considered to be the final agreement.
Yes.
So the question is, did that meeting occur?
Nope. There was no second meeting. We did meet, there was no meeting with chemistry.
There were.
Hold on, please.
Okay, there's a little bit of confusion here. Mr. Edelman, who was at the meeting, has a medical problem, so he's not able to attend tonight. I am acting as the spokesman for the Prospect Park neighbors, and one of the spokesmen.
How many are there? You guys all share the same opinion?
Yeah.
We all share the same opinion. We had a meeting, and I'm going to give an.
That's fine. I just want to make sure you're not supposed to say something.
No.
Somebody else is saying something.
We're speaking as a united front. So let me hand out a couple of things to you guys. these are copies of the petition. Table maybe. Article.
You sent it to the
While we're in this lull, Gary, can I ask you another question? Can I ask you another question?
Yes.
Or maybe I should direct it to you. If the applicant agreed to the 4 or 5 items that were in question and went along with what the community said, would that mean that the community would support the application?
No.
No.
Well, I can't speak to that. I know that we ended the meeting on April 9th with the decision that we would exchange the stipulations and then report back to the community board. And it's really your judgment to see that there's disagreement on these 4 areas, and I would defer to your judgment to make a decision about how this goes. This is what we did with Prime 6, and this is what the standard protocol, my understanding.
Well, my understanding of what happened at the meeting was that there's 15 stipulations that were discussed. There were 12 of those that basically were agreed upon. I'm saying the catering thing was kind of a no contest thing. There's 3 that we couldn't come to agreement on. And those are the hours, breaking up Prospect Place, and bottle service. And we still are not, the Prospect Place Neighbor Associate organization has an opinion of what those stipulations should be, and chemistry has a different opinion on those 3. Okay? And where we are. And our recommendation in terms of stipulations is that they go with the original hours that they sent in with their questionnaire, which are basically that they close at 11 on most weeknights. On Thursday they close at some later time. Give me a second, I can find it. 12, Fridays 2, and Saturdays 3. On the breaking up, you know, right now in this stipulation that you guys just read, it said, I believe I'm reading the same one, chemistry agrees that the Prospect Place exterior wall, as modified, will employ no glass or other transparent materials. And now they're saying they want to use glass block. Well, last time I looked, that was made out of glass and it was a transparent material. So I don't think we had an agreement on the breaking up stipulation. And as far as bottle service, we are opposed to bottle service because we think, as this gentleman was talking, that basically it's only in nightclubs and that this, chemistry, who I remind you presented itself at the Jazz Lounge at your last meeting, is now insisting on hostess-served hard liquor bottle service. Bars and restaurants do not have bottle service. Only a very few nightclubs do. You don't pop into a bar or restaurant for a whole bottle of vodka. There's currently only one bottle service establishment in Brooklyn.
Which is?
It's a place on
Atlantic Avenue.
Deity it's called, and it's on Atlantic and Hoyt, I believe. It's an old synagogue or something. So there's only one of these establishments in Brooklyn. They're more common in places like Las Vegas or Miami, certainly not in a residential part of Brooklyn. Remember, chemistry is asking for a capacity of 225 people. There's no other clubs with this capacity in a residential area, let alone one that offers bottle service. Also, earlier tonight I heard you discussing the Gowanus concert venue and thinking of the impact of 600 people leaving there at 9 o'clock. Chemistry wants to stay open until 3:30 in the morning and have 245 people leave. I mean, I don't understand seems very in a residential area. So it seems like you're using two different, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but there's a different set of criteria going on here.
Information, Joshua. Thank you. Did we have the hours that the group recommended as kind of a middle ground again? I think a lot of hours came from
and there was actually a typo in the community because the community proposed hours are the hours that were in the original application package that we have, and that is Thursday at 1 a.m. But the BID's proposed hours were Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. until midnight. Last call at midnight, free of patrons by 12:30 a.m. Friday and Saturday night, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. last call, free of patrons by 2:30. So really, a 12:30 closing and a 2:30 closing on Friday and Saturday.
Can the community people, when do we get more of a chance to give input on this?
Talk about the hours.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Talk about the hours.
and one thing is, this whole stipulation negotiation was not very transparent, or, I mean, there was one meeting, we wanted to have another meeting, and, you know, chemistry was saying they didn't get our emails. It was not a very smooth process. And we tried to work with them in good faith, and we don't feel that that was reciprocated. And we are trying, because you asked us to come to some sort of compromise with them. But we found the process to be very difficult. And really, you know, the reason I handed out that article about the other club in Williamsburg is that there's there's Community Board 1 in Williamsburg just voted unanimously to deny a liquor application for a similar situation because they said it was out of scale and out of character for the neighborhood. And that's what we really are urging you to do. And then I'm going to hand it over to Barbara.
Actually, you'll hand it over to...
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Barbara?
Yes. My name is Barbara Kirka, and I live at 81 Prospect Place, which is 2 doors down from the nightclub. My family has lived there since 1994. I'm a native New Yorker, for what it's worth, born and bred, never left. I understand what it's like to want a thriving business community, and I also know what it's like to want a thriving residential community. And my story on this, I was not at the meeting. I know the rest of the story at the meeting, and that is that, to our eyes, chemistry has acted in complete bad faith negotiations with our community. They lack respect for the neighborhood. They lack respect for the people who live there. They lack respect for what you folks have asked us to do. And frankly, they lack respect for the process the Community Board 6 wants. Our representatives went to the meeting, as you asked us to. We had it on April 9th. A lot of stipulations, the major ones, there was no results. Since April 9th, nobody from the negotiating team at Prospect Place neighbors has received anything in writing from chemistry about new hours. What we received were 2 different communications from the bid, one from Sharon and one from Regina, that not only are very different from what chemistry put in his application to you, but they were different from each other. Because the last proposal that we received from Regina, not from chemistry, were the ones that want to be open as late as 2 a.m. on weekdays, midnight on Sunday, 3:30 on the weekends. We are a quiet residential neighborhood. We are not a warehouse district. We're not by the Gowanus Canal. We have families. Owen is here. He has a 3-week-old. And he lives right next door to the nightclub. And it goes on up through senior citizens. The counter stipulations that we produced in writing to the bid to chemistry, we feel are reasonable and are in line with other neighborhood places. If you look, for example, at Sugarcane, that closes at 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. This place is far bigger in footprint. It is far larger in density. It's going to be much noisier, no matter the soundproofing, because the thump of the nightclub sound is going to go right through everybody's walls. And Peter Edelman, who's not able to be here tonight because of health concerns, made repeated attempts to contact chemistry and ask them in writing what were their hours, and they got no response. Last Friday, Peter received an email from Mr. Flores that said, "We will operate under the hours we previously submitted." Well, we're not sure what hours that they previously submitted besides the ones that they gave to you folks in your questionnaire, and we had problems with those. So we feel that we've followed your directions to try and work this out and come to reasonable accommodations. We've attempted to negotiate in good faith. I'm almost done. We've attempted to negotiate in good faith, and we've been met with smoke and mirrors. You cannot negotiate with shadow. You have to have something concrete, and we have not been given what you've been given. Okay? This is serious business, as this gentleman said. This has an impact not just on the neighborhood. I will be finished in a minute. And I would like your respect in allowing me to complete what I'm here for. Okay? This gentleman over here has
My committee business.
Okay?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, people are given, this, by the way, is not a public hearing, it's a public meeting.
I
We
understand
accept
that.
commentary from the public
I
as a
understand that.
courtesy, because we're interested in hearing what you have to say. We went over
Then
a
please
lot of this.
don't do this.
And ma'am, you're going on, you're going on long. As a courtesy, we extend things out to people. When people go on for more than 2 minutes at a time, there are other people that need to be heard, and people have to get home. So we need to discuss this matter.
Yes,
And I'm going to
and I will
recognize
finish
one more
with-
person,
and I will
and then
finish
we're going to close discussion to committee,
And I will
because
finish.
we're mindful of everything that was stated last month. And we
Definitely.
appreciate everything that's been said.
That's fine.
And a negotiation doesn't mean that everything that the community wants is going to be agreed to by the other party. There's going to be disagreements because they want something and you want something, and the committee is going to try to find a ground that is in the best interest of the community as a whole.
Okay. You've taken up the rest of my time, so you're on.
Thank you for yielding the rest of your time.
Yes, my name is Tyrone Jackson, and I just heard about this. I've lived in the neighborhood since 1978, and I just heard about this today, this bar being opened. I thought it was the Woodland Prime 6, but then they told me, no, there's another one opening a block away, and it was this. So I'm just meeting these people tonight for the first time. I'm just hearing that the bar is going to open for the first time in my neighborhood today. What bothers me, and I haven't heard anybody mention it, is that they're opening, one, it's in a very residential area, but the thing I haven't heard mentioned is they're opening right next door to a daycare center. And if you're open at 11 o'clock in the morning next to a daycare center, why hasn't it even occurred to you to address that issue or come to terms with that? On Flatbush Avenue, right next to a daycare center, all day long, all week long.